It's July 31st, 2025, in Elkhorn, Wisconsin, a quiet town nestled among rolling fields and dairy farms. Tonight, the high school auditorium is transformed into the epicenter of a political storm. The air is thick with tension. This isn't a school play, it's a political pressure cooker. Every seat is filled, and the crowd's energy is electric, a mix of anxiety, anger, and hope. Republican Congressman Brian Steele, a staunch Trump ally, stands at the front, facing over 250 constituents. Many are angry, their voices sharpened by months of frustration, and they're ready to make noise. The stakes are high. This is more than a local meeting. It's a real-time test of Trump's second term, playing out in the heart of America's heartland, where national decisions hit home the hardest. GOP leaders had warned against in-person town halls, fearing the backlash. But Steele chose to face the crowd, determined to show he's not afraid to answer tough questions. Outside, 50 demonstrators gather in the summer heat, protesting deep cuts to Medicaid and food assistance. Their signs and chants echo through the parking lot, setting a passionate, angry tone that seeps into the building. For these protesters, the issues aren't abstract policy debates, they're life and death matters. Parents worry about their children's health, seniors fear losing support, and neighbors rally together, united by a sense of urgency. Inside, the crowd is armed with facts, statistics, and a deep well of frustration. They've come prepared, ready to hold Steele accountable for every vote and every statement. This isn't just a local spat, it's a snapshot of a divided nation grappling with the fallout of national policies. The auditorium is split. Some support Steele, others demand change, and the tension is palpable. Farmers worry about tariffs that threaten their livelihoods. Families fear losing health care as headlines about cuts become kitchen table crises. Every policy decision feels personal here. Tonight, Elkhorn's people have a rare opportunity, a direct line to the man they hold responsible. Microphones are set up, and citizens line up, clutching notes and questions. The pressure is on. Under the bright lights, Steele wipes sweat from his brow as the first questions cut straight to the heart of the matter. Can he handle the heat, or will he falter? The auditorium buzzes with anticipation. Every cough, every shuffle, every whispered comment adds to the sense that something big is about to happen. Everyone is waiting for the first spark. The drama outside, protesters clashing with officials, people pushing to get in, is only a preview of what's about to erupt inside. The line between order and chaos feels razor thin. This is democracy at its rawest. Personal, passionate, and angry. Here, politics isn't distant. It's face-to-face, and every voice demands to be heard. The lid is about to blow, voices rise, tempers flare, and the sense of urgency is unmistakable. The crowd isn't here for polite applause, they want answers and they want them now. Every question is a challenge, every answer scrutinized, and they're not leaving quietly. As the night unfolds, it's clear, Elkhorn's town hall is more than a meeting. It's a battleground for the soul of a community and perhaps, the nation itself. Congressman Brian Steele steps onto the stage, the bright lights catching the tension in his eyes. The room is thick with anticipation, every seat filled, every gaze fixed on him. He takes a measured breath, trying to steady himself for what's ahead. He tries to project calm, but the tension is unmistakable. His jaw is set, his hands grip the notes a little too tightly, betraying the nerves beneath his practiced smile. As a loyal Trump supporter, Steele is seen as a reliable soldier by his party. But to many in the crowd, he's just a mouthpiece for Trump, a symbol of the new political order they're struggling to accept. Tonight was supposed to be about connection, a chance to listen and be heard. But instead it feels more like a political cage match, with every word weighed and every gesture scrutinized. This is Steele's first in-person town hall in 7 months, following the passage of major Trump-era legislation, the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, which he supported. The stakes are higher than ever, and everyone in the room knows it. The bill slashed social safety nets, and the fallout is hitting home. Families are feeling the pinch, and uncertainty hangs over the community like a storm cloud. The crowd knows the numbers, and they're here to ask why Steele backed it. Some hold up signs, others clutch notes, all of them ready to demand answers. Every shout and question is aimed not just at Steele, but at the entire political machine he represents. The frustration in the room is palpable, echoing the national divide. He's the local face of a national earthquake, the one who must answer for decisions made far beyond this room. Steele grips the lectern, ready to defend his record, his voice steady but his knuckles white. But the crowd is already making their case, loudly. Their anger and disappointment fill the air, drowning out any attempt at calm discussion. This isn't a conversation, it's a reckoning. The community wants accountability, and they won't settle for easy answers. The battle lines are drawn, and tonight, every word will matter. Steele barely gets a word out before the room erupts in boos and heckles. This isn't a few angry voices, it's a coordinated roar from every corner. The moderator's pleas for order are drowned out by the crowd's fury. "Answer the question!" and "You work for us!" echo through the auditorium. The crowd isn't here for speeches, they want accountability. When Steele tries to pivot to talking points, the audience drags him back to their issues. One attendee calls Steele a puppet for Trump, earning thunderous applause. Another shouts, "Southeast Wisconsin has not been represented by you," a declaration of political divorce. Steele is visibly rattled, pausing as the anger ebbs and flows. Even brief silences are charged with hostility. This is democracy at its messiest, loud, uncomfortable, and impossible to ignore. The people of Elkhorn refuse to be silenced. Immigration lights the fuse. Steele defends Trump's border crackdown and the stay-in-Mexico policy, sparking the loudest boos of the night. The crowd's outrage is visceral, they see cruelty, not security. Tension spikes when someone brings up the new Alligator Alcatraz detention facility in Florida, calling it a concentration camp. The accusation hangs in the air, a direct challenge to Styles' morality. Style rejects the term, reframing it as national security, but the damage is done. For many, the label captures their horror at the administration's policies. The debate isn't just about one facility, it's about the nation's soul. Immigration isn't distant, it's a moral crisis for this community. Styles' defense is met with shouts of shame. The wound is deep and raw. The conversation turns to tariffs, and the room heats up even more. A constituent calls Trump's tariffs a terrible tax on Americans, earning applause. He presses Steele for a real justification for the economic pain: higher prices, lost markets, and uncertainty. With new tariffs looming, the threat feels urgent. Steele repeats the administration's line about leveling the playing field, but the crowd isn't buying it. Boos drown out his defense. They've seen the impact on their bills and farms. The disconnect between Washington's rhetoric and local reality is glaring. The anger is about more than economics. It's about being misunderstood and ignored. The fiercest anger in the room is reserved for the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, a piece of legislation that's become a lightning rod for outrage and fear. The name itself, meant to inspire confidence, now draws bitter laughter from those who feel betrayed. Signed with great fanfare on July 4th, the bill was touted as a bold step forward. But for millions, it's anything but beautiful. It slashes social safety nets, cutting deep into programs that families depend on for healthcare, food, and basic security. The crowd at the town hall is armed with facts and stories. They cite CBO statistics, 10 million Americans projected to lose Medicaid coverage, a number that feels both staggering and personal. In Wisconsin alone, tens of thousands stand to lose their coverage, and the anxiety is palpable. The impact isn't abstract, it's local, immediate, and devastating. Personal stories pour out: elderly parents who fear losing their medication, disabled children whose care is suddenly uncertain, and families who have nowhere else to turn. Low-wage workers, already struggling to make ends meet, now face the prospect of losing vital support. The sense of vulnerability cuts across age, race, and background. When Steele tries to defend the bill as fiscal responsibility, the crowd erupts. To them, it sounds less like prudence and more like cruelty, an excuse to abandon the most vulnerable. The national debt is brought up as justification, but for many, it's a distant number compared to the immediate threat to their lives and families. Blame quickly circles back to Steele and Trump, who championed the bill. Their names are met with boos and pointed fingers, symbols of a government that feels out of touch. The anger isn't just inside these walls. Just a week earlier, the outrage spilled into the streets. Protesters left a cardboard coffin on Steele's doorstep, a stark, haunting symbol of lost hope and lives at risk. The image quickly spread on social media and local news, fueling even more outrage. The coffin becomes a rallying point, a symbol of what's truly at stake. At the town hall, it's all anyone can talk about. Every question, every shout, every tearful testimony channels that fear and anger, making the stakes painfully clear. Steele isn't just defending a vote. He's defending a decision that, for many in this room, feels like a direct attack on their lives and futures. The moderator's job is impossible. His pleas for civility are ignored. He tries to enforce the rules, but the crowd isn't interested in polite discourse. At one point, he calls an attendee very obnoxious, only fueling the fire. The crowd sees it as an attempt to silence dissent. Instead of calming things, the moderator becomes another target. Amid the chaos, Style gets a rare moment of bipartisan applause for simply showing up. It's a brief truce in a relentless battle. Mostly, Steele and the moderator are overwhelmed by a situation out of control. The traditional town hall format can't contain the raw anger of a betrayed constituency. As the town hall ends, emotions spill into the night. But the battle for the narrative is just beginning. Style quickly posts on X, spinning the event as great dialogue marred by a handful of disruptors. He thanks attendees and promises more events, projecting calm and control. But for those who were there, it was a confrontation, not a conversation. The two realities, Steele's and his constituents, can't coexist. The Elkhorn Town Hall is a warning. When people feel ignored and threatened, they won't stay silent. The anger over immigration, tariffs, and healthcare is real and personal. The boos weren't just noise, they were democracy demanding to be heard.